Well, good morning. What I would like to discuss this morning is two couple of ideas about the use of the two parameters approaches for long cracks, but from the point of view of small cracks. The outline of the presentation will be, first of all, the motivation, next, conceptual model. I would like to escape from the mathematical model, just two slides, and finally present some application to a small or long crack regime. The motivation for this work is this kind of diagram. This is a delta K max diagram for long cracks. These are experimental results by Usabi in stainless steels, in vacuum and in dry air, but we can see also this trend in other environments. And what we see here is that depending on the R ratio that we are using, we have two different behavior. For instance, if we are using an R ratio bigger than a certain critical value, 0.5, 0.6, we see that the threshold is controlled by what some author calls a cyclic threshold, which represent here as delta K threshold star. We are using an R ratio below that critical value. The threshold controlling the fatigue process is based on another different parameter that we call here static threshold, and we represent here as K threshold star. And the important thing here is that both thresholds are independent and are material constant, and they are different. We can also observe this behavior in other engineering alloys as steels, aluminum alloys, and titanium alloys, and the trend is almost similar. We can distinguish clearly two independent thresholds in long crack regime. Then, if there are two independent fatigue threshold conditions, this means that at least we need two independent fatigue parameters to represent the long crack propagations. And this idea connects quite well with the result that we can find in the literature in the long crack regime, where the crack propagation rate can be related with a combination of delta K and K max, for instance using a linear combination like in this case, or more usual a multiplicative combination of delta K and K max. As I said, the objective of this work is to model this long fatigue crack behavior, but coming from the small cracks. And then let's imagine a small crack propagating in a polycrystal material. Ahead of that crack we have a monotonic plastic zone and a cyclic plastic zone due to the unloading process. And we know that at the microscopic level, small fatigue cracks interact continuously with the microstructure of the material. And that interaction, we assume that comes from the continuous block of both the monotonic plastic zone and the cyclic plastic zone at the microstructural barriers. That barrier can be gained at boundaries, for instance. The main hypothesis of this work, and we think is a natural hypothesis, is that no fatigue crack can propagate in absence of cyclic plastic zone in its front. What is behind this assumption is that fatigue damage is concentrating in the cyclic plastic zone due to, for instance, the irreversibility of dislocations, motion, and the accumulation and annihilation of dislocation, and so on. Then we can say that the capability of a small crack to propagate in a polycrystal is determined by the capability of the monotonic plastic zone and the cyclic plastic zone to overcome the successive microstructural barriers. Doing so, we can distinguish between two independent fatigue threshold conditions. The first one is based on the capability of the monotonic plastic zone to overcome the microstructural barriers, and that condition will be controlled by the maximum load. This situation is represented in this picture, and let's imagine that we are applying a loading cycle with a small maximum but a big range. A big range means that the cyclic plastic zone is going to be able to propagate, overcoming all the microstructural barrier, but a small maximum means that at some point the monotonic plastic zone can be blocked by a microstructural barrier. If that happens, the crack will propagate within the cyclic plastic zone up to reach that barrier and then stop. In this case, the threshold, the arrest of the crack, is controlled by the maximum applied load, and we call this threshold maximum control fatigue threshold for small cracks. The other threshold is based on the capability of the cyclic plastic zone to overcome the microstructural barriers, and we've seen that this is controlled by the range of the applied load, and the picture is completely different. Let's imagine that we are applying a range, a load with a big maximum, but just a very small range. And in this case, a big maximum means that the monotonic plastic zone is always able to propagate through the microstructure, but a small range means that at some point the cyclic plastic zone can be blocked by a certain microstructural barrier. In that case, the crack will propagate up to reach that barrier and then stop. In this case, we call that situation a range control fatigue threshold for small cracks. To model this, we use the model of Navarro and Los Rios, which is a one-dimensional model based on distributed dislocation technique to model the crack, to model the plastic zone, and to model the barrier zone. It's a simple model, but it's effective, at least for our purpose. In this case, we can model the maximum of the applied cycle, and we can obtain the CTUD at that point, and we can also obtain the condition for the extension of the monotonic plastic zone. And we assume that that is controlled by a certain static threshold, which depends on the crack length. We can also model the unloading process, and we need in this case to distinguish between two different situations. The first one is the situation in which the cyclic plastic zone is blocked by a certain microstructural barrier, and the second one is the situation in which the cyclic plastic zone just overcome a barrier and remain in equilibrium within two barriers, within a ring. We need to distinguish between these two cases because we assume that the cyclic plastic zone is formed by two types of dislocation, for instance. The first one are the original dislocation from the monotonic plastic zone, which during the unloading process trying to go back to the crack tip, and the other dislocation are dislocation of opposite sign to the previous one that are emitted by the crack tip. Modeling with this distributed dislocation technique, these two cases, we can obtain the delta CTOD, and also we can obtain the condition for the propagation of the cyclic plastic zone. And in this case, the extension condition is represented by a delta K threshold, which depends on the crack length. What we are doing at the level of small crack is to define a picture like this, to define two different threshold conditions, one static threshold condition for small crack and another cyclic threshold condition, and define a region in which the crack is able to propagate or is the crack will arrest by the microstructural barriers. Assuming that the crack propagation is a function, a power function of the delta CTOD, we can reproduce the oscillating behavior observed usually in small cracks And that oscillation pattern is due to the continuous block of the plastic zone at the microstructural barrier. We can also, just assuming that the number of grain within the plastic zone is huge, we can obtain the long crack curve, for instance, the elastic plastic fracture mechanic curve for long curves, long cracks, and the linear elastic fracture mechanics curve. And in a recent publication, we have validated the model using different results for small cracks. For instance, I present here two pictures of the result by Akiniwa and Tanaka. They are resolved using, for small cracks using an aluminum alloy 20-2043, and we can see here in dashed line the evolution of a small crack and the mean crack propagation rate for different specimens, and we can see also the prediction by the model. This picture is for a maximum stress of 150 megapascal, and this one is for 230 megapascal. We think that at least we are capturing quite well the evolution of the process. Adjusting just the long crack propagation curve, the long crack curve, we can predict also the fatigue life with this model. You can see that the prediction in the range of small cracks agree quite well with the experimental results. What is most important, I think, is that using this kind of two threshold condition model, we are able to study the influence of the mean stress on fatigue. Here I present the prediction of the very well-known High diagram, alternating stress versus mean stress, and we can see the evolution of the isolife lines for different cycles, and at least qualitatively, we have not at this point compared this prediction with experimental result, but at least qualitatively we can see that the evolution is the expected. Moving on the long crack regime, we can do some mathematical simplification in this model, and we end up with the classical linear elastic fracture mechanics curve. And it's interesting that in this case we need to distinguish between two different crack driving forces depending on the range that we are working with. For instance, if we are in the range in which the cyclic threshold, is controlling the fatigue process, and then the crack driving force is represented by only one parameter, delta K. This is similar to the classical Paris law, at least in the Paris regime. And if we are working in the regime where the maximum control threshold is active, and then the crack driving force must be represented by a combination of delta K and K max. And this result agree very well with the result that we can see in the literature, the long crack curve that we can see in the literature, that they use a combination of delta K and K max to reproduce the crack propagation. To conclude, the model provides a micromechanical description of small crack propagation based on successive blocking of monotonic plastic zone and the cyclic plastic zone of the crack at the microstructural barriers. And using this idea, we can identify two independent threshold conditions. The first one is what we call a maximum control fatigue threshold, which is related with the capability of the monotonic plastic zone to overcome the successive microstructural barriers. And the other one is what we call a range control fatigue threshold, which is associated with the ability of the cyclic plastic zone to overcome the microstructural barrier within the monotonic plastic zone. And thank you very much.
clear to me, Carlos, how many parameters you needed to make a prediction like those ones that you've done for AL 2024. How many parameters do you need, and where do they come from? Are they things that you're fitting to the experimental results, or are they fundamental things that you can measure elsewhere?
We need to model the evolution of the static threshold and the cyclic threshold. And that evolution came from the Kitagawa-Takahashi diagram. Right? And assuming that evolution, we only need the two parameters for long cracks. And we have the whole range evolution of these two parameters in the range of small cracks. And to predict the evolution of the small cracks, let's go back. We also need to adjust these two parameters, the exponent and this is constant, but we don't adjust in the small crack regime. We adjust in the long crack regime.
Okay.
And then predict the
So that is effectively sort of Paris law type data, isn't it? I mean, I guess. And then in the KT diagram, you're then using a measured long crack threshold, and are you calculating the L-Haddad constant, or are you
the L-Haddad?
Well, at the A naught.
I mean, you know, okay, something similar to the L-Haddad evolution, but it's between the L-Haddad and the two.
Sure, but there must be a length scale there. Are you calculating that, or is that a fitting parameter?
No. It's a fitting. It's a fitting. I mean, the good thing is to have experimentally that result.
Yeah, sure.
Usually you will.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I think that for your small cracks, you actually cannot use the crack closure concept, actually. So, if you transferring the cyclic plastic zone and static plastic zone concept from small cracks to the long crack region. I think that actually, but in a long range crack region, you have a crack closure. So if you use, for example, and I will show you with the method, the crack closure concept for long cracks. So you are just also in these two regions, R parameter higher than 0.6, that is reside closure, intrinsic threshold, and the R which is less than, you are in just a closure range, and you can predict then without fitting.
Okay.
Yeah, you know how the effective range will see. So that's only a comment to that thing.
Of course,
yeah?
closure is not included in this model, and played an important role and modify the evolution of the crack.
Yes, can you show the last slide before conclusions, please? Yeah. You see that expression for the driving force, was it kind of assumed or you derived from?
It's a simplification. In our model we are dealing with small cracks and we have plastic zone with just a few grains. In the long crack regime we need to assume that the plastic zone has many grains, and if we go to that assumption, doing some simplification in the equations, we end up with these two equations. First one came from the cyclic threshold, and the second one came from the static threshold. Yeah. But it's only a simplification.
So you just postulated, or
no?
Or you start with some kind of mathematical derivation from?
Our postulation is just the hypothesis I mentioned, that a fatigue crack cannot propagate without cyclic plastic zone, and the monotonic and cyclic plastic zone evolves both blocking at the macrostructural level. That's all the assumption.
Okay. But how do you know that these two terms delta K square and the other one should be linearly combined, not just, for example, multiplied or something like that.
You mean this one?
Yeah. It means, you know what I did? I just took,
Yes, I know.
I took Smith-Watson-Topper parameter, I did the mathematics and I found that it should be delta K to the power multiplied by K max to the power. Yeah, it means I didn't do anything, let's say, innovative, because Tim Topper's parameter is also very much empirical one. But so that's what I did. So, but one of the problems I had with my colleagues that we say, okay, we know that there is K max and delta K, and they should combine to some kind of driving force. But until now, I have no any good physical ways how to combine these two things. So that's what I am asking.
What question?
Sorry, question is about two kind of material cracking, small crack, short crack, and long crack. What criterion for transition to use your equations from small, short crack to long? Because it depended on the growth rate penetration. What criterion that you use to bother one and another one manner of material cracking? Because it will be accuracy difference.
Yes. At this point, to obtain from the small crack curve, to obtain the long crack curve, the only assumption is to have infinite number of grains in the plastic zones. Mathematically, that's the assumption. Physically, we don't have infinite, and we need to think in 100 number of grains or something like that. But we have not done any other assumption. Just to put in the equation an infinite in that case, and to, well, there is something more. For instance, the friction stress in the dislocation has been assumed that is close to the yield stress, and
but it's well known, sorry, but it's well known that transition to Paris regime law depended on the many parameters, for instance, on geometry, specimen, shape, thickness. So it cannot be only one criterion, especially mathematical, used as border for these two type of possibility to crack the material.
This is for infinite solid.
Because to use these equations, it should be criterion from what kind of cracking, crack growth rate may be variable, stress intensity factor can be used in your equation. So my opinion is it should be introduced a more complicated criterion to using, because now it cannot be only one criterion, R ratio, used for this. It's my comment.
I have one question and then the first my question is, you show here the difference between vacuum and air, yes? And in the threshold. And when you now take your model, which is only based on plasticity, and the criterion for cyclic plasticity and monotonic plasticity, then there should be no difference, because the plasticity is not affected by the environment.
It's not affected by
the environment.
what?
And therefore, there should be no difference in the threshold value of what you said. That's at first my question.
Right. But this value, I assume that I know that values, you know? But in that case, I'm introducing in the model the effect of the environment. Just introducing this value, this long crack value in the model. That's the only way we have up to now to introduce the environment effect.
But in your model, the criterion for cyclic plastic deformation and also for monotonic plastic and the transfer should not affected be by the environment.
Yeah, it's not.
But in reality, you can.
But I will also make a comment to this. Yes, a comment to this, and this is always when one plots such diagrams. One has to take into account that in vacuum, especially ultra-high vacuum, and in air, the behavior near the threshold is completely different. In air, we have always a really drop of the crack growth rate at the threshold at 1 Burgers vector per cycle. And when we go to vacuum, we have a continuous change, even at crack growth rate down 1/10, 1/100 of one lattice spacing. Yes.
That's because
And that's
really well
so
done.
we compare complete different things. So one have to be careful when one draws such.
Yeah.
That's only my comment.
Thank you.
There's a question in the back there. Yeah.
Coming back to the closure issue, does it affect, I don't know, it might be something which is well known, but
It must affect, of course.
But does it affect in the same way as for long cracks, or
Well,
there is an important change in the mechanism?
you must have evolution of the crack closure from the small crack to long crack, and then you need to simulate that evolution up to reach a certain constant regime or constant effect of the crack closure. But of course, it affects the results, moving the long crack curve, moving the crack propagation curve up and down, right? Depending on the threshold you have.
Okay, I think we should conclude there. Move on to the next paper. Let's thank Carlos.